All right, guys, we are, I believe, in part 5, so we're going to pick up where we left off, which was trying to figure out how to get the lights to light up with the interior lights, right? Remember? So we had those plugs that we wanted to, sorry, not the plugs, the actual buttons that had the little face on them. Here we go. And we wanted to get them lit up, so that when the lights are on, the little seat lights up. Just kind of a fancy little way of looking at it and being able to see, okay, that's where the seat button is in the dark, instead of just kind of feeling. Probably really just a vanity thing, but it's still something I wanted to do. So if you remember, when we were in part 1, we were attempting to pull the voltage from here, which is what lights up the trunk button, the hazards, and I believe the traction off. Well, doing some research, what I found is that my experience is primarily with, now, disclaimer, I know nothing about electronics, so I could be getting all of this wrong. But essentially, the way some systems work is they increase the resistance, and that decreases the voltage, which causes your lights to dim. That's on a lot of older cars. A lot of newer cars that use LEDs, they don't decrease the voltage to dim. They essentially flash the LED so quickly that your brain can't even tell that it's not lighting up to full brightness or turning on and off, and it looks dim. I believe that's called pulse wave modulation, or PWM if you read about it. To be honest, I don't know it that well, but essentially multimeters can't really pick up on it. They just average it out, which is why I was seeing 1.4 volts. But long story short, what I believe was actually happening is when I was plugging the wire in here, the sensor up on the dashboard, so I'm going to pick you guys up, the sensor that determines if there's light or not, the one over here, that was actually determining, hey, I don't need to turn the lights that bright, despite the fact that I was trying to actually show them that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically fake it and see if that works. So we have our lights here. We can see that they are not lit, right? The seat is not lit. The seat is not lit. Well, obviously because it's not plugged in, but I'm going to plug it in so that we know that we have our power. Remember, we have constant on, we have the light on. Now, I'm going to take this wire, and just for the sake of this test, remember, it was number 6. So we're going to count starting on the side that has only one pin. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the last blank one is 4. 5, 6. So we're going to go into the second from the left. And I'm just going to stick that in there. And that's kind of as if it was bridged. So if I look at my little seat icon, now I tried to darken it, but it's not on. It's not on. What you're just seeing is the color of the seat. Now I'm going to turn my keys. I'm not going to turn the ignition all the way on, but I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to reach over, and I'm going to make sure that I have it on the second, which I believe is the lights on in the car. Now, if I go really, really closely, you could see, look at that. The LED is flashing. Right? Now, the camera can pick it up. My eyes, I cannot tell that it's flashing, but you guys can probably tell on the camera because of the frames per second and stuff. This seat is on. It is so dim, you cannot even make it out. It's just impossible. Now, what I'm going to do here is I have a sweater. I'm going to throw it up on the hood. Sorry, not the hood, the dashboard. And that is going to cover the sensor. And let's see what happens with this button. Aha, look at that. Now it's lit up. Now, to be honest, I think it still is flashing a bit, but now it's moving so quickly that not even the camera can tell, and the seat is lit up now. Beautiful. It's exactly what we wanted. I have my second one here, which actually it maintained that the heat was on, so I'm going to click that twice to turn it off. I think I'm going to click that twice. Yep, 1, 2, now it's off, but the seat icon is on. And if I reach over, I turn the headlights off. We see those lights turn off, turn it back on. they're on. And if I take the sweater off again, it's going to pick up on the fact that it's bright outside and it dims them, which is exactly what we expected, right? So that is great news. That means everything with the exception of that one wire we had to run for the accessory on power is located underneath your center console. And this is great. So let's get to wiring that in. I'm going to unplug this for now because, quite frankly, we don't need it. And I'm going to set that off to the side. Now, I'm going to reach out and get my splice terminals. Remember, this is the spades. I'm going to go with my 18 to 14, which is blue, just to be consistent because that's what I used before. Red would be 22 to 18. To be honest, that's probably what I should use. But I don't know the gauge of this wire off the top of my head. You know what? It's LED wire, so let's do this. Let's go with the red. We're going to go with the red spade. All right. Close that. Now I'm going to pull my wire out. And I'm going to remember, I want to go into number 6, which is the second wire from the left. So if we're looking here, now you guys are not going to be able to see this, probably. And I can't zoom in with how my camera is, but just bear with me. We have a black on this side. So we have black. I'm sorry, that's black, violet. We have 3 empties. Then we have a violet yellow and then a violet gray. Violet gray, this is, you know, the one that we want. So if I could kind of show this. There's 5 wires in here, right? We don't want 1, 2, 3. This is the one we want, the violet gray. Not this, not this. So what am I going to do? Just nice and easy. Do what I did before on the other ones. I'm going to slip this sleeve on here. And I'm going to get my wires, which I left outside the car, unfortunately. So I'm going to reach. That. All right. I'm going to crimp this wire in. Again, apologize. I'm not good at recording stuff, so maybe this is a little better. So remember, if we take a look here, we want this violet gray wire. This is the one we want, violet gray. Slip it in so that it sits inside the metal jacket. Turn it over. And just crimp it on. Once you hear that click, that means it's in. Okay, it looks like it's in. Hope it's in. If you really wanted to test it, you probably could, but we're going to now get our spade, which I put up here. All right, we're gonna get our spade crimper. All right, let me turn you guys up a little bit here. And here's our yellow wire. Oh, try to turn that off. All right, we'll take our crimp, slip that right in. Crimper goes in. Crimp that wire down. That's in, not coming out. And then we do nice and easy. Slip it into the connector, and let's do one more test here before we, you know what? I don't really like how I wired this. It's over the top. Can I pull this off? Yep. I'm gonna go under. So there's essentially a plastic piece here. This rim. And I think this is supposed to go, like, sit nice and easy. So the wire was over the top like this. I want it to go under. So this This might be hard for you guys to see. You probably can't see it at all, but I'm just essentially going to slip the wire under. Plug it in. All right, now that that's in, let's give this another test run again. I'm all for testing over and over and over and over. And I'm going to take my box here, plug it in. I should have very little light coming from these, although I have my headlight switch on. So let's turn that off. Okay, no lights. I'll hold this here for you guys. Let's turn this switch on. Very little LED light coming through the side. You can kind of barely make it out, which is fine. That's what we expect. We can just barely see that this LED is lit. Let's go with the sweater again. We're going to throw the sweater over the sensor, block it up, and there we go. We have our light. If I turn the headlights off, that light should turn off. Beautiful. That's what we wanted. All right, guys. So we are in good shape now. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get ready for running the wires, because two things. One, we want to get these buttons on the back side of the console. So what I'm going to do, if you look here, is I am actually going to pull the plug out. So if we look here, there's two little plugs on this model that I got. I can pull those out. It's going to make it easier for me to run the wires, and it's going to make it easier for me to drill the hole where, well, I'm going to have to grab that. That flew down there. But essentially, it's going to make it easier for me to drill the hole for this, plug it in, and I will show you guys that in just a second. So those are out. Toss that on the floor. Grab this. We'll unplug it one more time. But guys, at this point, this bad boy is wired up. I'm not going to start detangling or making this mess, because the other wire we need to run to the back is going to be this guy, which this is our actual pad wires. So these are the ones that need to be run to the back. There's one set here and one set here. Remember, these are the wires that actually hook into your pads. And this is going to be interesting, but we'll get there shortly. So I will see you guys in a few, and catch you soon.